Ba 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 ba.
What?
Ba ba ba. I don't know.
What is that?
If I know, I'm just making shit up.
Is that our theme song?
Oh God, no.
Da,
Da, da, da. Wait, no, that's the.
That's not.
Okay, moving on.
What are we talking about, Dan?
Independence Day Resurgence.
Yay!
Oh man.
Well, it's okay. A less enthusiastic yay.
Well, okay, yeah, no, okay. Independence Day Resurgence, the triumphant return of Jeff Goldblum. That got a better reaction than I thought.
No,
right?
I just he does. We'll get to it, but he does the most Jeff Goldblum thing in this movie I've ever seen. Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. He's very Jeff Goldblum.
We'll get there.
Jeff Goldblum-y.
All right. So if you're new here and you don't know how this works, basically, hi.
Basically hi.
We start non-spoilers. We're just gonna be talking in general about our general thoughts of the movie, and then we're gonna put up a spoiler warning, and then we're gonna talk about our pros and our cons, some things we liked, some things we didn't like, and then we'll give it an overall rating out of 10 and some final thoughts to leave you with, and that's gonna be how this works. So Dan,
yay!
I don't know what I was gonna say.
He is so good at transitions.
I was on top of it.
He's a professional.
I was on top of it, and then I lost it.
You were on top of it, and then you fell over because you're drunk.
Yeah. It's early.
Maybe a little bit early for us. Fair enough. We're crunching schedules. That's weird.
I mean, I'm actually usually awake by this time, but I'm not like awake by this time because class is like.
Who
just
actually functions in the morning? That's just
well,
weird.
like because normally classes just kind of started at this point in the morning, and I'm kind of like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I am physically here. I'm not actually here. Okay, all right.
It's kind of
Independence Day Resurgence. In case you guys didn't know, this is a sequel.
20 years later.
Yeah, literally. They actually even got it down to the date. Like
the
1996 movie is a 1996 event in the universe they're making.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Honestly, okay, the first movie, I guess since the sequel, let's talk a little bit about the first movie. The first Independence Day I have seen so many times. It was a pet movie of mine. It was a guilty pleasure. I completely understand that it's not the best movie. It is cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
But for what it is, it's fun.
I watched it one time, not that long ago, for the first time.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
It was a few months ago. It was before that I graduated from the bachelor's.
Okay, yeah. So anyway. So, you're relatively new to all the Independence Day stuff.
Yeah.
It's fresh in your mind.
I did not grow up with it.
Yeah, I literally grew up with it. Because I was... No, let's not get into age. Anyways, started to think about that.
Never ask a woman her age.
Yeah, really. Wait. Anyways. So, the original movie was super over the top, super cheesy. In fact, it actually started... the super over-the-top blockbuster explosions, let's make this look super crazy disasters. I wish I could remember the guys that made it, but they kind of became synonymous with those kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the original Independence Day started Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. Second Independence Day, well, they got Jeff Goldblum. And as well as like most of the rest of the original cast, which is actually really cool.
The president... That scientist guy.
Bill Pullman, the president. Brent Spiner as I think I just butchered his name. As the crazy scientist guy. Even and they got the Jewish father that plays everyone's Jewish father.
He just plays Jewish fathers. That's all. Yeah.
He knows how to do his role. He's been in so many things, and I wish I actually knew the actor. I'm remembering so many more actors in this movie than I usually do, and I still can't remember him, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
Anyways.
This is one of those movies that I think, while I was in the theater, I was like, I like this. This is kind of cool. And then I got out of the theater for like 5
Thinking about
minutes,
it?
and I started thinking about it.
Don't
and I
do
was
that.
like,
No.
wow. This movie kind of sucks.
I sitting on it for a while. So this isn't immediately after the theater because there was a horrible rainstorm and we got stuck in it. And then
that is nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, no. The aliens attacked and it was horrible.
It rained because aliens.
It blew up all the landmarks. Oh god. Anyways, okay. So the first movie was a lot of fun, but definitely a guilty pleasure. I'll completely agree to that. It's not going to win any awards, except for most entertaining use of Washington D.C. landmarks. Actually, I think it did win that award with someone. I don't know. The second one is honestly very much what I would expect from an Independence Day movie. It was crazy, over the top. The thing is, Independence Day spawned so much stuff. There's so many movies kind of like it. There was all the there's been a disaster epic explosions. Everything is it was being destroyed. Movie almost every year since 1996. So they kind of had to do something really new to be anything but a snore fest because it's we've seen this all. And to their credit, they did do a lot of things really well. I do think that the setup for this is actually a very solid grounds for a sequel. They literally advanced the plot 20 years, so all the characters have been pushed forward a bit. But more importantly,
it's interesting from a world perspective because they've advanced 20 years. They have all the aliens.
Yeah, and it's because the alien technology crashed on them, they have reverse engineered it. They have it now.
Yeah.
So now we're 20 years later, and we're a lot more high tech than we were. Because
the bases on the moon.
Yeah, they've bases on the moon. They've
cannons that shoot alien
hover cars and everything. It's actually really cool. They took a lot of technology. And they're more open about everything. Area 51's like a super prison for all the aliens that weren't killed yet, and so on and so forth. And it was really cool. There was some. It was nice to see that, and that's I think probably. I'll get to that later, but the biggest thing in this movie's favor is that it actually built a pretty cool world. Given what it was doing, it added on very well. It very much felt like it was expanding the universe, and I think that was very much what they wanted to do. They're aiming for a franchise. That's basically that's the trend right now. Let's revitalize franchises that are 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying things.
I was.
Now they're gone.
And then you said similar things.
Oh. High five.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, I like them advancing it 20 years and using all the technology. I thought that was a really cool way of approaching it. To me, the characters were not, because one of my issues with the first Independence Day, aside from it's really cheesy, is it cuts around a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters and a lot of jumping back and forth, and it gets kind of hard to keep track of everybody.
And usually only about half of them really matter. They do eventually tie everyone together.
Yeah, which was a good thing about the first movie, is that everybody, there was still kind of that central character in the president.
Yeah.
That everything was still kind of attached to him. Second movie doesn't so much have that character. It's all just kind of a bunch of loose stuff that doesn't really flow.
It's all connected. It's just the connections are a lot less. The connections are more of yes, we are, we know each other, or yes, we're doing similar things.
It's not like they're tied together in neat little bows. It's there's a thin little
and almost there are a few connections
everything.
that I felt that they tried to reestablish with some characters that were a bit weak. And
then just in general, with the first Independence Day, at least all of those characters were interesting to an extent. There were a few. That were
that's the thing with Independence Day, that it was so filled with tropes and weirdness and stuff. But and I can't say this for certain because I know that those tropes didn't magically appear with Independence Day, but they did kind of give that was one of the big movies you kind of attribute a lot of those tropes to.
Yeah.
The badass president who's doing a lot of things. I know there's been other movies that did it, but Will Smith's character, Will Smith has been in other things, and there's obviously been the badass, but I don't know, maybe I'm just giving the original Independence Day too much credit, but it feel that because it was one of the first really big blockbusters that did so much on a global scale, it put a little. It set a lot of precedents.
You're still kind of interested in the characters in the first one because of what they're doing, and like I said, the fact they're all tied together, and it's Will Smith. This one, like 75% of the characters, I don't give a shit about.
Okay, all right. So overall thoughts that it has its pros and cons. This is not a perfect movie. Definitely, they did not. This is not the diamond in the rough you're looking for.
No.
But I still think that there's some good to it. So let's move on to pros.
All right.
Would you like to start
spoiler alert.
Spoilers. Yeah, this is the part where if you don't want to actually know anything about the movie, we can't guarantee your safety after this point.
All right.
We'll just be blabbering.
So, first pro, the female president. What? That's not a thing.
That's your first pro.
No.
I mean,
that was a joke, pro, Dan.
Damn it,
joke, pro.
It's your first joke, pro. I don't know how this. Oh, don't do. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Rick. Don't do this to me. Okay, anyways.
Anyway, like we said, they have all of the technology from the aliens, and they actually advance the world.
The actual legitimate pro. World building.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's actually a cool thing. Not just that they advanced the technology and all that stuff, but they really explained, like, what happened in those 20 years? What happened with the aliens? What did we do? How did it affect us?
Well, Will Smith died.
Funny enough, not to the aliens.
Yeah.
It's a fucking test crash that killed them off. It's like, I think they probably could have given them something a little more cool.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it involved them in those I don't know, the other fights that they're referring to. Okay, so another big point, they bring in a small side character that, he's an interesting guy. I wish I could remember his character's name. They say it once, but no one cares. He's just known as the badass black guy. I mean, that's...
Oh, the warlord?
The warlord.
Yeah.
They literally there's an African warlord who just took over for his father. But here's the thing. So in the 20 years prior, the ships crashed or they landed or whatever after the mothership was blown up. But the aliens didn't die. They kept fighting. And they still exist. So there's still a bunch of aliens in Area 51 in the prison. But there's been a war going on. And like it went for 10 years after the victory of Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these like tribes in Africa and all this other things, like various people across the world have been fighting aliens on foot, which kind of wish we could see, but what I mean, it was.
There's one really cool scene of that with the warlord.
Oh yeah, but no, he gets actually a few cool scenes, and I like it. He's but they expand they expand a lot of that where they actually show like people have grown up, knowing the aliens and knowing nothing but the aliens. Like there's a lot of people out there who aren't in the safety of the bigger cities the ones that are left, and they're fighting aliens, and they're so used to fighting aliens. And it's kind of cool because they have this kind of trophy hunter mentality with the aliens, and they kind of figured out how to beat them without all the technology and stuff that they discovered in the previous film. So it was nice to see other parts of the world, because that was a big thing with Independence Day. It was a global thing. All the major cities of the world were destroyed, and that was the point of the speech at the end of the first one, is that it was the world's Independence Day.
Yeah.
Which is I think one of my favorite speeches in all movie is just because it's so epic. It's maybe not as it's so like over the top and crazy, but it's meant for that movie, so it works. So we get to see a bit more of what the rest of the world has done, at least to a degree, mostly with the African warlord and the people in Africa, all that stuff. But we see a little bit, they build up the aliens and what their plan was. And they hint at stuff, and as things start coming to a boil and we start getting signals from the aliens again, it starts to really build up there. So the world building definitely I think is top notch. I mean, it was solid, it was fun. You saw the characters, and they used those characters to explain what happened in between. Mm-hmm. And they didn't bombard you with it. They probably could have done the whole movie just like, here's all the things that have been in the 20 years. But no, they did it nice. They wrapped it up pretty well. I mean, it was not too much, but it was nice to see the extra bits.
Yeah.
So definitely, probably my highest pro. It was fun to see all that.
Another pro, Jeff Goldblum is still Jeff Goldblum, and he's amazing.
Yes.
There's
Jeff
okay.
is,
I alluded to it at the
Jeff is
beginning.
amazing.
He does the most Jeff Goldblum thing I've ever seen him do. They're crashing a spaceship, and he's just sitting there like, ah! It's amazing. It was my favorite scene in the whole movie.
He does that several times.
I know.
I mean, but it's like he was.
It's my favorite part of that whole movie.
I don't know for certain, but I have a feeling at this point in his career, Jeff Goldblum has realized what he really is, and that is he's a cult favorite for being so delightfully weird. Now, obviously, he's been known for being the weird guy.
Yeah.
That was what he was a while ago. But I think he knows now exactly how to capitalize it, and he sees all the things that the internet has caught on. His manner of speech.
Dinosaurs and
well, there it is. Anyways, so he knows exactly what he's aiming for, and I think he does dish that out in spades. I love there was a speech later on. Okay, bit of jungle. They find a bit of an ace in the hole against the alien queen who's coming down to beat him up.
And you mean the Ball of Destiny?
Yeah, the Ball of Destiny, but he's just like, maybe we can bait her.
We can use it to bait her, like she baited us.
She did us. It's like the rest of the scene, the rest of the people.
I know why you thought of that. It's because we saw it 3 times.
Well, okay, yes, we had a technical malfunction and we had to rewatch.
Our theater, the power went out, so they
but the point that the scene stuck out to me even the first time around because actually it was obviously one of the things. If it had been any other actor, it would have been like one of those dramatic, serious moments, like "We've got her" or something like someone did like a dramatic, like one-liner kind of thing.
We can bait her.
Something for the trailer if the scene wasn't filled with spoilers. But Jeff Goldblum the crap out of it. It's just like we can bait her. And it's just like he's almost shocked at himself.
Yeah.
It was delightful. Jeff Goldblum was fun. He had a few good lines. Oh man, yeah, they love to really hit the landmarks. As like the London, as Big Ben and London being wrecked.
Another returning guy, the president from the first movie.
Bill Pullman
was awesome.
Okay, yeah, I like Bill Pullman. He's a fun actor. He really is. But
he had a smaller role in this one than the first one, obviously. But
obviously he still had a very important role.
Yeah.
In that he was. He basically becomes the warning guy. And funny enough, like it's been said before, it already kind of revealed in the trailers. Bill Pullman goes from the president to the crazed bearded guy that tries to warn everyone of the aliens from the first movie.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a negative about Bill Pullman. It has nothing to do with Bill Pullman.
It's the fact that
it's the fact that they make him too much like that guy. In that his entire plot line is that, spoilers, he also goes no plane on a suicide run, and he also blows up one of the ships. Sacrifices himself for the
difference is, it doesn't fucking mean anything when he does it.
Well, the difference is instead of being like the first ship they take down after they're successful, and that's basically the domino effect to victory, it's they make the queen go out on foot. Which doesn't necessarily stop her destructive capability, just makes her a little bit easier to shoot at. So
literally his death didn't do anything.
It did a tiny little bit, but a lot less than it should have because they built it up.
His death should have been the end of the movie.
He shaved for it, yeah. And
it should have been the finale.
Although I think they built it up as. I'm not sure if it should have been the finale because. They built up to be so much like the first one. I think if they ended on that note, it would have been too much of a rehash. Because it would have ended.
At least it would have meant something.
I know, exactly. I'm with you on that, but I feel that because it continued on, at least there was more like new stuff they did to the movie. Like the finale was very different from this because it wasn't just like let's use a Mac to give it a computer virus and then blow it up with a crazy guy in a jet. Yeah. There was more to it. The queen actually comes down in person. You see, it suddenly becomes like a pseudo Godzilla movie because the queen's humongous.
Like I was just visualizing that thing fighting Godzilla like half the time.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna. this is
It
gonna
even made a similar sound to the Muto from the New Godzilla movie. It sounded just like it.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely has a weird, like, crazy street scene. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a half pro. So
half pro.
like, so this is half pro, half con, and it's gonna be a really big con, and I'll get to that in a second. The ending really did feel climactic and big, and it was one of those, like, we did it. Oh crap, we did. You're constantly struggling. Like everything they do is like,
We did it.
Got it this
Oops.
time. Damn
We
it.
did it. Oops. We did it. Oops.
And they didn't. It didn't feel like they were just like stumbling for the sake of stumbling, and it didn't feel like they were stumbling for the sake of padding it out. It felt more like it was just like, this needs to be a sequel. This needs to top the first movie, which is part of the problem. So they had to do more, and they did. When they blew up the mother's pod thing, and the mom came out, the queen came out, and she's huge, and she's wrecking face, and she has her own personal shield, and she's going to town all this stuff, and chasing Jeff Goldblum in a bus, and whatever. Let's get to that in a second. Get to that in a second.
I don't understand the bus, Dan. I don't understand.
So, but anyways, but the whole point of I guess to kind of reiterate the plot, the aliens are coming back to kick our ass. The slight difference here is that a different set of aliens came before them,
and
right before them.
The humans shot the shit out of them.
Because the humans freaked out and shot them without, thinking that it was going to be an attack ship, and they didn't want to risk the aliens getting the first strike, so they shot the ship, which turned out to be another alien species coming to evacuate Earth in the face of the invasion.
The friendly ball of destiny.
Because it was, apparently there's the aliens have been conquering the universe. There's other aliens out there, plenty of other races that have had their worlds destroyed. And so this alien race of basically, I don't know, I guess they've transcended physical matter, so they're all like consciousness and balls, giant spheres.
They're giant metal tennis balls.
Yeah,
This is what they are.
pretty much.
Or
So yeah,
baseballs,
so
I guess, I don't know.
whatever, they're balls.
They're spheres.
Spheres. That's a much more appropriate word. Anyway, so these aliens have come down to try and evacuate us, and instead we kind of realize the aliens are searching for these new aliens, the old alien. This is gonna get really complicated because they never even named the aliens.
The spooky tentacle aliens want the sphere aliens.
The bad guy aliens wants the sphere aliens because the sphere aliens are creating this hidden home world of refugees that are building technology to defeat the aliens once and for all. Hint, hint, setting up for a sequel. Or a third sequel. Threequel? Whatever.
Hint, franchise.
So and then they do a little bit of a switcheroo to get the queen out. So they fake the signature of the ball, and that's the bait Jeff Goldblum.
Which is apparently really easy for them to do.
they have Brent Spiner on their side. He just concocts whatever the hell he wants. He's Brent Spiner ex machina. Anyway, so they create a fake ball and drag the queen out. And when the queen dies, the ship retracts itself and gets pulled back home. They're literally seconds away from doing what they need to do, which is, by the way, extract the molten core of the Earth.
Yeah.
That fuels their stuff. That's apparently what they were there for.
They're literally seconds away, but the scene takes 10 minutes.
That's another thing I'll get to.
It's a whole other
so they get pulled away. They kind of last minute, hive mind the ship, but instead of everyone dying, everyone retreats, and there's no auto protocol for that. Okay, so we're getting completely off the pros thing. We're just wandering in places.
Okay.
So but there's the plot because there is quite a bit to it actually.
Yeah.
And I was rather surprised that there was quite a bit to it because the first one was just like, aliens are fucking our shit up. How do we fuck them up? Here's how. They just keep smacking their head against they do it.
Right. One more pro: the visuals are amazing. Like the special effects.
It's a beautiful movie. I mean,
pretty.
It's a blockbuster movie. It's not. They didn't cheap out on this. They definitely put the effort into this.
Yeah.
There was a little thing at the end.
I don't know if there were any shots where I was like, "That looks fake," but like.
Nothing stood out.
Yeah, nothing really stood out.
It was. I mean,
obviously, there's a point where I'm like, that ship should have fucked up the gravitational pull of Earth, and we would all just die.
Well,
it's a ship the size of the Atlantic Ocean.
Kind of.
Kind of, not enough.
Yeah, I probably should.
It seems like a ship that would just like spin Earth
it
off its
did.
axis.
It did, by existing, wreck the entire Atlantic.
Yeah.
I think they were hinting at that.
It should have wrecked the entire planet.
Yeah.
It should have just spent the Earth spinning out of control.
Well, not necessarily. Anyways,
I'm not a scientist.
I'm not getting into the science
like
of it because there's probably more that could have happened. This is also Independence Day.
Yeah.
This is where Mac computers are God.
Yeah.
Apparently. Anyways, no Mac computers in this one. Funny enough. Anyways, probably Apple didn't want to.
Well, I mean, they have the alien technology. They don't need.
You're right.
They're just like we have.
They have Alienware now.
Like holographic.
Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry.
They don't have iPhones now. They have A-phones, alien phones.
Don't. Okay, so. All right, so overall pros. I feel like there's. Well, okay, some of the side characters were fun. It was kind of hit or miss the side. Like I said, the African warlord, which I really wish I could remember his name.
Him.
He was fun because he was much more. He was also much more the badass. He's just like he was so eager to kill some goddamn alien because he's been hunting for a while.
There's a couple of really good characters.
Like he wanted to.
And then there's like a fuck ton of really bad characters.
Yes, Brent Spiner, the crazy scientist guy, was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
As it was in the movie.
I don't remember if it was established that. Like, is he supposed to be gay?
I didn't look at. So yeah, his fellow scientist guy, which I vaguely remember from the first one.
He's been in a coma, so he has his fellow scientist.
He's been in a coma for 20 years.
Him. And then there's like a point in the movie where like I wouldn't have thought twice about it, but I feel like there was a point in the movie where I swear he calls him sweetheart.
They had a moment, I think he calls him something like that. Right when the guy dies.
Right when he dies, and he gets like really upset, and
he goes over and they have a little moment, and I'm wondering if they
like
really
if I didn't, I swear I heard him say a pet name. If I hadn't, then I wouldn't have thought twice about it. I would just thought, oh, his friend died. But
well, yeah,
like,
I mean, it was emotional.
I thought he said like, oh, sweetheart, are you all right? And then I was like, wait a minute.
I'm
almost weird.
I'm almost wondering if his last name is something sweet, something.
That might also be it.
We didn't look this up.
We might be completely wrong.
So anyone who actually knows for certain, if
feel free to correct us down below.
Yes, please. Tell us how horrible we are to miss the one gay couple. It was weird.
Like at the very least, they didn't touch on it at all.
They weren't blunt about it, but also they kind of were. Like we were talking about this a bit beforehand, and I was like, if they were the gay couple, were they trying to like give us really not so subtle hints?
Yeah.
Because the guy comes in, he's taking care of the flowers.
Like his flowers.
He knitted him something.
Knitted him a sweater.
They're very actually affectionate towards each other. So at the very least, like they're very good friends.
I just thought they were like weird friends.
Well, yeah,
like,
they're weird people.
Yeah,
so
they're weird people who are just really close friends.
I mean, that's possible because they're just weird. I mean, it's Brent Spiner and the guy that can keep up with Brent Spiner is crazy character. Like this is the guy back in the character who was so excited about the aliens and like wanted to crack one open.
I don't remember enough of them in the first one because like it's jumpy. But like
well,
I don't think it was established.
Brent Spiner was barely in it in the first one. He was just that one scene. I don't think any of the other characters were established.
Yeah,
at least not to any degree. So
I have no idea if they were going for that.
That's a good question. We don't know, but that's definitely something that could be maybe.
Like I mean, I don't care either way.
I mean, either way,
it's just weird.
No matter what,
thrown in
their actual back and forths. There's some like Brent Spiner was so delightfully weird. Like he starts off as running around with no pants on, and he has to be reminded that he's not wearing pants.
Why did you tell me my ass was hanging out?
It's exactly. It's just a lot of those two are a lot of fun to see them just because they do some fun interactions. I mean, so the African warlord, Brent Spiner, Bill Pullman, and Jeff Goldblum are the characters I do enjoy. And like overall, like the movie has a lot of like world building stuff. So some solid pros. Then we have
cons.
Would you like to start us out?
Sure.
Go for it.
Half these characters suck ass. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, so the two like young dashing heroes that they want us to root for.
What the fuck even? Like, it's Will Smith's son.
Yeah.
Who A has no personality. B we get like
his personality is that he's the curt military guy. He's the guy who doesn't want to take shit. Like, but he doesn't even get like the cool stuff. Like Will Smith was also kind of the guy who doesn't take shit because he punches aliens and says "Welcome to Earth." Yeah. You know, I was like,
But this guy's just like, I'm gonna stumble through this speech I'm giving before we all fly into the ship, and
Yeah, he was wooden,
and he like, and he just like he has this beef with this other guy who I guess almost killed him during his training
there was
thing, which isn't really touched on that
we
much.
have Will Smith's son, the son of Will Smith's character, not Jaden Smith, the son of Will Smith's character from the little kid from the first one, and then
who happens to get his father's job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, who basically becomes his father. So it's obviously
he's not as fun as his father.
It's obviously they wanted Will Smith, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do this. So anyway,
well, he
and then
did,
this
but
other
he was demanding a lot. He was demanding too much.
Fair enough. They didn't want to pay Will.
They didn't want to pay Will Smith what Will Smith wanted.
I mean, it's probably worth a lot, so it's probably kind of dicey.
Yeah.
They didn't want to risk that much on this movie. It probably would have made a lot. Anyways, so we have Discount Will Smith, and we have this other guy who's like
Dollar Store Will Smith.
He's an orphan. I feel like they were hinting at the fact that he may have been like one of the children of the redneck guy who sacrificed himself in the first movie, but he's the wrong age, and they never mentioned him, so I guess not. Like, I feel that would have been the perfect spot
I don't
for
even
that
know
character.
who that other guy is. Liam Hemsworth plays him, right?
Yeah, it's Liam Hemsworth. I was trying to figure out who the actor was. Like, it happens in the movie, I'm just like, Liam Hemsworth!
Yeah.
He has this...
The less famous
He has the Thor scowl. He has the same eyes as his brother and stuff. Anyway, so... We have those two characters. They have a beef because they were both in the Air Force and trying for this, like, international, like, super team of flyers that are basically just, like, the peacekeepers / faces of the new world government kind of thing. And they're trying out for, like, the leader of the squad, and Liam Hemsworth just is a bit of a dick and cuts him off in a canyon when there's no room and basically knocks the guy's jet into the wall, and he has to eject, and he barely makes it out. So Liam Hemsworth almost kills...
for like 15 years.
Yeah, he holds the grudge for like 15 years. By the way, Liam Hemsworth's connection to the story is that he has a grudge with Will Smith's son, and he's dating the president's daughter. That is, well, Bill Pullman's daughter.
Yeah.
So that is literally his. That is the only. He's basically the. He's the dashing white guy hero that is attached to people, but he's not.
And he sucks.
He's
so bad.
At best, his character is every like dashing white guy hero that's been in these action movies. Just like, and then like he's just there. He does stuff, but the big thing that he has in this movie, his big like. Thing that's helped save the day is that he likes to put the turbo on the ships, and since they have the alien technology, they steal alien ships.
You haven't even
later.
seen the fusion drive yet.
I know, God.
And then he just does that like 3 more times, and that's his only contribution to anything.
That is literally his part of the story. He
pisses on the alien ship, and I'm like, what? What's with movies that I'm watching lately and people pissing on things? We had a fucking eagle, and now we got this thing.
It's okay. Deep breath.
It's too much piss, Dan. I can't handle this much piss.
If you haven't seen it, watch our Angry Birds review.
Watch our Angry Birds.
Anyway, okay. So, God damn it. Basically, this character was just there to be there.
There were a lot of characters that were just there to be there.
The problem with him that I have the most. The other ones I can forgive. Like there's the really annoying bureaucrat who saves the. Funny enough, saves the African warlord with his crazed gun skills.
The like comic relief who isn't funny.
Yeah, the comic relief. He's not funny and all that stuff, and he's actually rather annoying. But I can ignore him because he's a small part. This main guy, he's supposed to be the face of the story, yet he has pretty much no emotional pull. Like he has this thing with the president's daughter, but the president's daughter is also flat as hell.
Yeah, the president's daughter also sucks.
I mean, the characters just I feel like they're flat performances. Maybe the script didn't really give them a lot to work with in the first place, but I don't think they did a whole lot. They weren't really exciting. Like,
and then we can talk about Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad and all of the.
We'll get to that in a sec.
He does.
We'll get to that in a sec. All right. Anyways, so main character of the story. What's his nuts? I don't know. And like he doesn't do anything. He's not a hero. And the problem with, and as you said before, with this movie bouncing back to multiple characters, there wasn't a central character. I feel like they wanted it to be him, and they probably gave him the most screen time, but. The only thing I got out of him is every trope in every movie. And like I said before, this movie comes from the movie that set up like half the tropes in blockbuster movies, but they needed to go beyond, and they didn't have as much fun, just tongue-in-cheek fun, silly characters to really make up for the fact that all of them are tropes.
This had less whimsy, I think, than the first.
Yeah, it felt a little more. It has taken the seriousness that we've gathered in the last 20 years.
Which, considering some of the ridiculous stuff that happens in the movie, it's like, oh, that thing that shouldn't happen and is weird just happened, but let's not address it. Let's move on.
The movie never. This movie never quite gets to an explosion that doesn't feel like going into the closet. In that one scene under the bridge kind of level of why didn't that happen the way it happened, but it gets really close, but it is no, like, the only fun it really has to make up for are Brent Spiner and Jeff Goldblum, and they do have a good chunk of the movie. Their scenes are fun. Every time it's not on them, it's quite a bit more serious, and I think it falters for that because the other main characters just don't freaking work.
Yeah.
I don't care about the grudge match. That gets resolved with a single knowing look. Yeah. They have like a weird moment after the black guy's mother dies. And then that's it.
Which again,
then they do it. 15 years of grudges, like, we're cool after say like, I know how you feel, bro.
Yeah, and like that's it. They just kinda hug it out. But like also like with his mom dying, his mom has like a minute of screen time?
Yeah, that was also, like, I'm pretty sure it's the same actress who plays the mother, Will Smith's girlfriend, fiancé, wife, in the first movie, where she played a decent role in, like, gathering up survivors and stuff like that. Yeah. But now she has, like, literally, like, 2 or 3 minutes of screen time just running around during the panic when everyone's running around.
She helps a girl's baby.
Yeah, she helps a pregnant woman with her baby
get out of the hospital. She falls from a helicopter, but we see it from, like, a distance, so, like, both physically and emotionally, we're distant from her.
They literally distance us from the death.
I don't know what you want me to feel here, but I feel nothing.
The whole connection we had to this character, which was the moment of his mother's death, they even, like, purposely, like, kind of just, like, slow roll.
They kind of brushed over it.
Yeah.
It was kind of pushed.
And then there was the Chinese pilot, the female Chinese pilot whose uncle was on the moon base who died.
I forgot about her.
I know, right?
And then like the main dude's friend had like a crush on her for no reason.
There was 4 whole characters.
There
all
were
the
4
characters,
like main like army characters who were like flying their ships and like
care. I actually thought that the movie was going to forget about them until the very end when they stole the alien ships and came back. I was like, oh, okay.
During that scene, funny enough, you pointed out they were flying out the side, and you were like, "There's a hole in the top of it."
Okay, yeah. So, all right, they're in the
There's a lot of plot holes in this movie.
They're in the huge harvester ship, and they go to try and bomb it, and the bombing run fails because the aliens are really freaking.
And then like the mothership flies off the top, and there's a giant hole in the top.
The top where the queen goes out to find the sphere. And it's like, so the Queen's going out to do one,
maybe
which is another problem.
But I don't remember it closing at all.
They didn't show it closing because they followed the Queen. Yeah. So that there's this huge hole in the top. You can see outside.
There's like daylight shining into the middle of the ship, and they're flying out the side.
So they're escaping in the alien ships, and they have that hole taken right from the first movie where it's like, oh no, are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make it? And they like just barely make. They even do the fake out where like they almost kill off Liam, but he's the dashing hero white guy, so he's not gonna actually die.
But so like, it's like there's a hole in the top of the ship.
Guys, you got the dramatic event. Go up the top.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it did close, but they didn't take the time to show that.
There wasn't like an explicit, like, hey, this closed, so they can't use it.
I mean, just a single line of like, come on, you go up the top. It's like, looks up, damn it, it's closed. We have to go up the side. Done. All right, cool. Then it wouldn't have felt so stupid. But it was, even if they did that, it would have felt stupid because again, who cares? They did a death fake out for not the side characters that might have been like, oh shit, did they kill off? You know, the Asian girl that no one knows, and the dopey white guy who has a crush on the Asian girl. No, not them. They faked out the fact that they killed the main white guy and the main black guy. They're supposed to be new Jeff Goldblum and new Will Smith for this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
They're dead. Oh no. All 30 seconds of like silence going like, oh no, they didn't make it. Did you miss me?
Yeah. All 30 seconds of there's no fucking way you killed those two characters.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So half the characters work, half the characters don't. That kind of leaves the movie in a very precarious position because the movie switches around so often. That's probably one of my big cons is that the movie has less focus but doesn't reward you for it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes all over the place.
There's also
we've touched on that a bit.
We talked about another big like loophole, plot hole thing.
We're talking about the Queen.
Talking about the fact that
Let's save that because I want to talk about Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad. All right, all right. I'm gonna put this preference. I've mentioned Jewish dad in anger twice. I don't mean it as any sort of derogatory, obviously.
No,
but here's the thing. Okay, so they bring back Jeff Goldblum's dad, and who already had a very tenuous role in the first one. He was there as moral support. He helped give Jeff Goldblum an idea. His point in this movie is to bring Jeff Goldblum a truck.
school bus.
He brings him a school bus. So that he could go from the failed attempt to kill the Queen to the real attempt to kill the Queen. That's all he does.
That's his only point. To get that school bus. He has this Jeff kind of,
and the thing is, if that was like two scenes of him just like, I need to go get to my son, and he shows up in a car like at the right time. Okay, fine, I'll forgive it because then he's like in half the movie. Or he has this whole subplot where he's like, I want grandchildren. He never tells Jeff Goldblum that because they don't talk.
And then he finds all these kids on the school bus. And
he literally finds kids along the way and
he just adopts like all of the kids at the end of the movie.
I think they're only referring to like the 3 or 4 that he first found, but even still,
like those aren't your kids.
He ends up with like 15 kids and like adopts them because they're sort of kind of sure their parents are dead, and
they're sort of like their parents might be dead, but they're not really sure. Let's just stay with Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad.
And it's just like the scenes aren't even. I mean, he does have a few bits. I mean, he's still amusing to watch just because he's like, he's he's just an amusing kind of guy. I like the actor. I really do. He's a solid actor.
It's just like
he just plays that one role, and that's very.
Like, there are more important things happening.
Like they have this part like, okay, so the bombing run on the mothership didn't work, and the main heroes are trapped inside. We don't know what happened to them. We don't even know if they're alive. Let's cut to the Jewish dad, making jokes about, how like, making this like, I gotta conserve gas. So he's going 20 down the highway when they're 75 miles away from Area 51, which is where they're going. It's just like, it's too much that just didn't need to be in there. He didn't do anything. And here's the thing. His role, besides being a comedic relief and there for the children, I guess.
He's not even the moral support like he was in the
No, if he was the moral support, I'd be fine with it because he did that. That was his role in the first one. That makes sense.
But literally, like 75% of the movie, Jeff Goldblum thinks he's dead.
Well, yeah, we just assume he's dead because he was on the coast when the Atlantic gets wrecked by the ship coming down.
And honestly, part of me wishes he had died there because then maybe we would have a death that means something.
If Jeff Goldblum had confirmed he was dead, like found him, and like that drove Jeff Goldblum to keep doing things, and he just ripped the aliens a new one, like he covered this. That would have been awesome because it would have furthered the relationship between the two by Jeff Goldblum like, I should have been there more for my dad. Because that was the thing they kept harping on about. I was like, you never come to visit me. You only visit me in Thanksgiving, but he had to cancel last year. All these things were just like, okay, we get it. You have a tenuous pact with your son. Are you going to actually have a scene with him that actually makes a happy reunion?
Yeah, and then
you have like 15 seconds of going, oh, who's this woman to this random love interest that I just forgot until now.
There's like, he comes back in this school bus and they never have that moment of like, what? You're alive? Oh my god, I thought you were dead.
Because they have bigger things to worry about.
Because the fucking Queen is there and is chasing them down with the fucking school bus. And she can't hit the fucking school bus. She has this huge fucking cannon that she's shooting at. It fucking explodes. She can't hit the fucking... She's going like 20 miles faster than the school bus.
Deep breath. In, out, in.
She is so much faster than that school bus, and she can't catch it, Dan.
Yeah, that's...
What's wrong with this alien queen?
We'll get to that in a second. All I'm only saying is that they had a chance to make an emotional impact at some point.
And they didn't.
And that was, I think, I think the characters are about 50-50. There's about 50% of them were crappy, 50% of them were actually pretty fun. Then they lost that emotional impact, and they kind of tipped it over to the crap side. So overall, I think the characters just didn't work. It's still enjoyable. There's still some enjoyable scenes of the characters, but they're only about half the scenes. Anyways, let's go to the big problem that just that makes this movie the ending go from awesome to not work. Because as I said before, one of my pros that I liked the finale in how it was designed. Like it was
the
cool.
Action is
it was cool to see the action. The queen being this huge, like
the design of the queen
thing.
is cool.
And she's just
visually it's a really cool scene.
Yeah, visually it's
narratively doesn't work.
It's cool. It's fun. You know, there's a lot of cool things happening. The heroes do some interesting things to save the day, so on and so forth. So like there's some things going for it. But here's the big problem.
It has the biggest loophole that you could possibly give a movie.
All right, so they earlier in the movie they push the fact very heavily. These are a hive mind race. That the aliens the chunk of aliens that are coming down now are harvesters that are here for the planet's core, and they basically come in and get out. If you kill the queen,
they will all die.
They'll all stop and be recalled by the nearest harvester queen to retreat. It's an auto retreat. Everyone knows this.
It's the Chitauri from the Avengers. You kill the one big thing,
pretty
all
much.
of them die.
You kill the one thing, and then you won. Is basically the thing. So when they detect the ball thing, the queen's like, "Oh shit! We found the dude that we've been searching for, as well as the planet we want to eat." She's like, "Oh crap! I have all this firepower, all these massive fleets and all that stuff. I can have 1,000 people come down and decimate him." And she can.
Yeah.
She goes down herself.
And
in
she's
her own,
like,
own little personal ship.
Let me, the person who, if I die, all of this will end. Let me go and get it.
Let me just send the one thing they need to win is kill me. Let me go myself. Now, she takes a fleet with her and all that stuff, but here's even the worst thing about it. So Bill Pullman destroys the queen's ship, so she's on foot. Because she has her own personal shield, and they didn't expect that, so on and so forth. They didn't expect her to be huge, too. That was actually a wonderful shot. You only see her in her perspective, so you see her in her control room, but it's all to her scale, so you don't know how big she is until she erupts out of the ship, and they're chasing down the skull flats, and she's like 7 stories tall.
Yeah.
Great bit. But so she's running around on foot. She's got all the fighters and all that stuff that are attacking the Area 51 base, which is where the alien ball really is instead of the fake out. And she realizes that and starts charging to Area 51. But yeah, when she gets to Area 51, she's the one that's bashing through the thing. She has literally a swarm of fighters. There is
all just spiraling
hundreds of them, but all they do is they circle around her to protect the queen. Guys, how about you protect the queen by having her sit in outer space and you just bomb the crap out of her? They're winning the battle.
Yeah.
The humans would have fallen. They had this gambit where they took the shields away from the Area 51 base to try and contain the blast to kill the queen. It didn't work. Their shields have been wrecked. Their defenses are like a group of soldiers and a bunch of civilians with guns, like rifles, defending the base, and it starts to get overrun. They're losing. If the fleet had been just concentrating, doing all that stuff, and the queen was in orbit, there would have been no risk to the aliens, and the aliens would have won eventually. Like there was no hope for humanity, except for the fact the alien queen was stupid enough to come out and say, "Well, And here's the thing. I guess I said this in defense of the villain in Apocalypse. But I really can't say it here. It's arrogance that kills the aliens. And yeah, I guess there's some kind of metaphor to that, but it's really bad arrogance, because like, at least with Apocalypse,
that's his character, and we get that throughout. With the alien queen, she doesn't
have a character.
She's
so her arrogance just doesn't
a hive
make
mind.
Sense. As a hive mind, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a hive mind, you have all
She
that
should
stuff.
be aware that if she dies, everything is lost.
Yeah.
And she shouldn't go
away
from her home.
It felt like something the queen had a personal grudge and had to do this herself. Or, like, if they could have set this up where the queen had to come down and go mano a mano. And they did set up the fact that no one's killed the Harvester Queen. So there was that kind of deal where, well, no one's killed anyone before. Obviously, I'm invincible. And then she dies to like 2 ships that the main characters steal.
Which, by the way,
shoot her out. Like,
she has like mental control over all of the ships. So how the fuck do they? I don't understand. Dan.
Yeah, they don't explain that either.
She could just control.
She actually
all of the
control.
ships
Okay, here's the thing.
with her mind.
Well, that's the thing.
And then
she
these
does.
two are like, let's fucking go faster.
Okay, yeah.
And they
and
just
here's
break
the
out
thing.
of it, I guess.
So they stole alien ships and they're dive bombing her. Like they break. Actually, the president's daughter. The one thing she does, she breaks the alien mothership. So that is one thing that's not an alien ship. All right. So they break the mother shield. So she's vulnerable to fire. She's still really hard to kill. And she takes control of all the alien ships, including the 2 that has our heroes in it.
But she doesn't do that the first time those 2 start attacking her.
No, she waits
like
just
a
at Area
solid
51.
5 minutes of those 2 attacking her, and she's just
they're
like,
bombarding her.
I'm just gonna let this happen.
They destroy her gun.
And they blow the shit out of her
They
gun.
disarm her before she takes control of everything. She knows it's her ship. She doesn't know that they're. I mean, for all she knows, it could be like traitors in there, but I kind of doubt that exists in a hive mind. So she knows that those ships, and she then, like just a few minutes later, exerts control, and all the ships follow her move and basically acts as a personal shield. But here's the thing. They break that control of the ships by going the fusion drive. They go super fast to make them like spiral.
The one thing Liam Hemsworth is good at is the one thing that breaks in their control.
Yeah, like for some reason, okay, so the hive mind has control over the ships because it's their technology. All right, they literally tell the ships to do what they want. You know what breaks the hive mind's control? Using the turbo drive that's on every ship.
On the ship.
Like, why does a feature on the ship, like, yes, it's supposed to be meant to do in space and not on ground, but like, why does a feature that would be used at some point in time break a hive control? Because
Also,
like,
how
they
are they
stall
able
out
to access it if it's under her control?
I don't
They can't use any of the other controls.
They can't even do it in the
except
first
turbo
place.
drive.
I don't.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
And like on that same note, I'm kind of confused as to how, because like there are certain people that start getting like visions of the aliens, like the president starts getting visions, and the warlord starts getting visions, and the doctor starts getting visions, and I'm like, why are these people getting visions and nobody else?
Because they're the ones that did a lot of physical touch. Like everyone who gets like lashed with the tendrils.
Right, and I got that with the doctor.
The doctor and the president both had that.
But did the president in the first movie do that?
Yeah, because he was. No, he got a psychic impulse because he was talking with the aliens, and at the very end, the alien lets out a psychic screech, and the Secret Service blow the fuck out of the alien.
Gotcha.
They communicate one-on-one. Okay. So that's why the president. So yeah, there's a little side plot where a handful of characters are
and I guess we
visions.
can just assume the warlord had the same thing happen to him.
Yeah, when the warlord had been fighting the aliens for like 10 plus years, so it makes sense that he's had a connection with them.
I just like, with the president, like, okay, so I figured it was because when they grabbed them that they made a connection, but I don't remember the president getting grabbed.
The president didn't get physically grabbed, but he got the same connection. They talk
he gets
about
grabbed
that.
in this movie.
He basically, they do the exact same scene with Brent Spiner of the alien communicating, but it's Bill Pullman being the talk, and they get less out of it. So whatever.
Also, there's like 3 attempts at a speech that equals the first speech, but
that's the thing. So they start. Okay, so there's a lot of little bits and pieces. Like I think overall, like the last con I'm going to put out here is that they try and retread a lot of the movie without actually successfully doing it. They have the whole alien interrogation scene this time with the president on the other side of the glass, and Jeff Goldblum on the other side, and from just like the first one, it was as effective. It was as effective, if not less so, than the first time they did nothing happened. There was bits and pieces. and they try to do the speech again. They start off the movie with a recording of the first speech from the first Independence Day, as like that's what the aliens are hearing as part of the distress call as he's booming it out across the radio waves, and the aliens like, oh shit, what's going on? And like, I think something's happening, distress call, and that's why the other aliens come back. So we hear that, and it's a great opener. Then they have two speeches. One from Bill Pullman, which is not as, I mean, it's okay. It was a nice speech, like, overall. And then another from the third president. The third president.
There's three presidents, two of them died.
Has
there ever been a movie where two presidents have died?
There has to be somewhere. Anyway,
there has to be.
There's a female president at the very beginning. She does all of nothing.
Who is Bill Pullman's replacement?
Yeah, Bill Pullman's replacement.
And then she gets slaughtered by aliens.
Yeah, she
and then this like military general.
She gets killed.
Gets inaugurated.
And apparently she was the vice president, and like the three,
like all of the other people that would have taken the presidency.
All the 4 or 5 secretaries. So it goes to the secretary general.
Yeah.
And who's the should have been Shredder in
the should have been Shredder in the Teenage Mutant movie.
The guy who plays all the villains ever, and I can never freaking remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Anyways, so
he should have been Shredder.
Anyway, so he becomes president, and he gives his own little speech, like, as there's like minutes on the clock, he does the same thing where he broadcasts to everyone, and they go around the world seeing it. So they do a bit of a retread on that, but the speeches aren't the same. The scenes aren't the same. It's like, there's a lot of like homages to the original in scenes, but they don't have the same impact. And I don't know if that's just because they've already been done, or if the movie just didn't have as much heart as it had.
It lacks the charm of the first
And yeah, that's a big thing there. It's fun, it does amp the visuals, it has some cool scenes. It doesn't have the charm.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And that's
kind
big
of
numero con.
Yeah.
I mean, I can forgive the plot holes because the first one had thousands. I mean, Mac Computer hacks alien mothership. Sure, whatever. I can forgive it if it's fun and silly and this has enough charm and you're just like, this is entertaining to watch. It was entertaining. Just
not for the
enough.
same reason. It was entertaining because of the visuals.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was entertaining for the
action.
reason that recent movies have been entertaining and that they've been visually interesting and they have cool scenes and designs.
Yeah.
It's not the old Independence Day original entertaining because it was unique and bizarre and over the top and cheesy and fun and had Will Smith with cigars and an obsession with fat ladies. And anyways, I can go on and on. Like the old movie had so much more like charm and stuff because all the characters had their own little quirks and weird things, and they all mattered. And just their conflicts mattered. I cared a lot about Will Smith and his design. Like he thought his fiance was dead. We thought it was. They had that death fake out, and that was most of the movie. They were trying to reach each other, and one of them didn't know. And then they had the president's wife died, and she was like, we thought she was going to make it, and then she doesn't make it at the very end. It's like, we had this dramatic go-through. We went through these characters, and it was a lot more personal because it didn't feel like it was bouncing around so much, and it didn't feel like it was bouncing around to characters that were just there. Like, every character had a point instead of being a checklist trope. Like, they all had a point because they were all different levels of the story. They tried to do that with this one. Didn't work as well.
Alright, all that said, let's give our final thoughts and a rating out of 10.
It's a good question. I admit, when I was watching the theaters, it was fun. I did enjoy it. It was really cool. I remember saying when the power went off and they had technical difficulties and they had to pause the movie.
I think we were both like,
we were both like, I like it so far. That was about the time where they were like, they just met the Sphere of Destiny.
Yeah, they had just met the Sphere.
And
I don't know, I still don't know how I feel about that Sphere of Destiny to me.
That was okay.
I like the idea of there being more alien races.
We'll go back and say,
okay,
they're setting up a sequel hardcore.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this because I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I heard this movie has gotten really crappy reviews, and I don't think it's going to. I'm really sad to say it. I don't think it's going to get a sequel.
No.
So, but they really set up a sequel hardcore. It ends with the fact that the aliens are dead. It turns the Brent Spiner of the Sphere is like, guys, they want us to lead the resistance. There's this other homeworld with all these other aliens. I'm just like, all right, that's a cool enough concept because they could introduce other aliens and other possibilities, and they could really have some really cool things there. I want to see that movie actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen because currently it's like what 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. The reviews have been really crappy. When we went to saw it, there was like 5 other people in the theater. It was we go to a small theater, it's not unexpected. But there's 5 other people. All of them were like 50 and up, which is actually like they're all like middle-aged or like senior citizens. Just like not the kind of people I was expecting to see.
Probably the people that saw the first one in the theaters.
I'm not that old.
I'm not saying.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just saying, like maybe they like took their kids to the theaters.
That's possible. It was weird, but there weren't a lot of people. It wasn't a lot of hype, and we didn't see it on opening weekend. But
I like
close.
I like the concept of there being other alien races. I just like this one is kind of weird.
It's a good one. It's just I'm not. If this movie had
this one was
more push and it really had it really felt like they were gunning for a sequel instead of just expand.
And they're this race of aliens is specifically that trope of like, oh, we think these aliens are going to kill us, but they're here to help us.
Well,
and there's another worse one.
They have that old little like fake out where you don't know what the sphere is doing, but it's a good guy, but it's really a good guy. I thought it was going to turn evil. I was kind of hoping it would turn evil.
The first time we saw it, I was like, that thing's a good guy, and they're going to shoot it. And then like, there was a moment where I thought it was going to be evil. I think it was the same moment where like right after Bill, the president like blew up the ship, and they were like, but they're still active, and I was like, I thought the sphere took control of them all.
Yeah, I thought the queen was dead, and the sphere had taken control and was like the puppet master behind this whole thing. No, it was just
they fucked up, and
the
president died for no reason.
Yeah. So it was an interesting little like. I would have liked it if the rest of the movie was more successful, and I still wouldn't mind. Like I said, if they made another movie based on that concept, I'd be intrigued. Not sure if I'd be fully behind it, but I'd be intrigued. They have my attention with the concept. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to get it. Anyway, so going back to this, considering Rotten Tomatoes at 33%, I'm really hard on this because I did enjoy the movie up until the finale, and I actually even enjoyed the finale until I thought about it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it was really cool, it was really great, but it's a movie you really have to turn your brain off.
Yeah.
You have to turn your brain off and just enjoy the visuals, enjoy the fun, enjoy the ridiculousness, but you can't really, it's still not going to be at the level of the first Independence Day. So, I think it's worth the blockbuster fun. I'd say it's definitely worth a rent. Not sure it's really worth in theaters, although it's a nice big spectacle movie, that's always cool. But I'm going to give it, feels bad, but I'm going to give it a 5. 5 out of 10. It had some good moments, it had some reasons. It's not a horrendous movie, it's not a garbage movie. It does have some good moments. It does have some really bad moments too. It's honestly about split 50-50. Half the characters suck, half the scenes suck, but half the characters are good and half the scenes good. So yeah, 50-50, perfect. 5 out of 10.
It was, for me, like you said, it's one of those movies where you're in the theater and you're in the moment and you're like, this is kind of cool. And then I go home and I think about it and I'm like, I think that movie sucked.
Think about it at all. And I there was still some moments in the theater where I'm just like, no,
like towards the end of the movie, I was like, wait a minute.
This doesn't like anything at all. This doesn't work at all.
And like, for me, like it's just like the characters, like there were only like maybe 3 or 4 that I even like care about. And I mean, we've talked enough about Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad and how pointless he is. There's just like, there's no emotional connection to like half of the people, and it's just
like it's weird because there are some amazing scenes.
There's some really good visual scenes. I like the design of the aliens and the design of the Queen, and the like 10 minutes of the ship landing.
It was a big dramatic.
It was cool. It was cool.
You know what?
But like, there was another thing we didn't touch on, and this was a big pet peeve.
There's so much shit in this movie that we
like, constantly keep going back. Because like, there's a moment at the end of the movie where they're drilling into the Earth's core, and they're like, We have 6 minutes before they reach the Earth's core. 20 minutes later, we have 2 minutes until they reach the Earth's core.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
the thing that keeps happening in blockbuster movies.
It's just like,
they feel like the only
can
way
we eliminate the countdown, please? Or if we have the countdown, make it accurate to the screen time with which we have the countdown.
Yeah,
It's like,
they do that in so
it's
many
like, you
movies.
can't fool me. I know this last 20 minutes wasn't 4 minutes. I understand. There's no way that this all took place. This isn't D&D. Not every turn doesn't take place in the span of 6. Every scene isn't 6 seconds long. I know the difference between a minute and 20 minutes. You can't fool me. But anyway, so I mean, all things considered, I'm gonna go just a little lower than you and do 4 out of 10.
All right, that's fair enough. Like I said, I feel that there's probably a bit of my score that comes from the fact that I love the first Independence Day and I grew up with it. So it does feel bad. I wanted this movie to be good.
Yeah.
It looked like the perfect add-on to this movie. They were advancing the plot.
And
they added the
it did that to an extent with the
tagline is so cool. You know, it's like we had 20 years to prepare. So did they.
Yeah.
Oh shit! We're
like,
in this, the same position, but we moved forward anyway. So we get to see cool new tech, and they did do that.
They did it. There's the setup.
They
is
just
really
didn't do
good.
anything else.
The payoff
And
is not worth it.
Here's actually a little tidbit. There was one scene that it could have been a really, really amazing scene if it had been with characters we cared about and been with something that. So, Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad, and the random group of teenagers he finds that find him actually, but they're driving along, and so they start talking about the fact that they're pretty sure their parents did, because their parents are in Florida, and the entire Atlantic was basically wiped / drowned. So obviously Florida's gone. Anyway, so they have this kind of moment where this teenage girl's driving, and she like the one of the other boys says like, we think we're not sure if our parents are dead, but we know that her boyfriend's dead, and she just starts breaking down, and They have a moment between the girl and Jeff Goldblum's father, and they're just they just have a moment of silence. It's just like, pull over, I'll drive. Yeah. And it's like, and if those kids had made more of an impact, if it was more about their story of survival, or if that scene had been in with characters that I really cared about and mattered, that could have been an amazing scene. Because it was honestly a very nice scene. It wasn't big, it wasn't splash, but it was one of those like very obvious, like she was having a wreck moment because she was suddenly basically put into a leadership position she didn't want. And Julius, right? Jules, whatever. Anyway, whatever. Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad kind of took over, and that was the point of his arc, was basically to take over the leadership for the lost kids. Just that there was so much more going on, and it really didn't matter. But I feel like that was the missing heart of the movie. And because that was done with characters I didn't care about, didn't really know, didn't really want in the movie.
They had like 5 minutes.
And it was taken away from time from the characters that were supposed to have the interactions and stuff like this. That's, I think, why it angered me that much more. Because the heart could have been there. The charm to this movie could have been there. They just put it in the wrong places, and then like kind of dropped it and like fumbled it everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, there was the potential. It could have been there. This movie, while it still would have been cheesy and full of holes, could have at least been a emotional journey with characters you liked and cared about.
And I mean, the whole moral of his arc is don't steal other people's children. They're not yours. You can't just adopt 12 kids. I think what they're
trying to say is that the elders aren't. I think that what they're trying to say is that the old people aren't completely pointless. Was the arc, because that's the kind of thing. The older generation gets pushed off to the side. Jeff Goldblum is not the hero. Bill Pullman is just he does the sacrifice but doesn't necessarily do anything. It's the younger generation that does save the day.
Is that why they were older people in the theater? They just want to see Jeff Goldblum's Jewish dad.
Yes, they all him. Despite the fact they had a whole scene of him with a bunch of old people falling asleep to his speech and when he was trying to sell his
Trying
book
to
on
sell
how he
his
saved
book.
the world. Anyway, okay, so
This book is literally called How I Saved the World.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't think you did
we've
that.
gone off over
Alright.
now in this movie.
So,
we're,
those are our thoughts.
We're trying to tone this down, but
Those-
we're really bad at this.
Those are our thoughts on Independence Day Resurgence. Leave a comment and tell us what you thought, and tell us what you want us to do on channel, because we're doing good
Yes.
stuff.
Like, comment, subscribe. If you had any, if you like this movie, like this video at all, if you like what we're doing, please show us your love. Likes are much appreciated. Subscribes are even more appreciated. We love them all, and we'd love to hear from you. Any thoughts on this movie? Any thoughts on the other movies, other videos we've done, and what you want to see in the future? We'd love to hear it. So anyone out there that would love to respond, please, we're listening. So we thank you all for listening to us ramble for over an hour, and yeah, Independence Day Resurgence could have been better, could have been worse. Very much middle of the road. I guess that's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right.
But we'll be back with more things.
I
very
finally
soon.
started recording my Godzilla
God
review.
damn it!
This is gonna happen.
This is gonna be a thing. People are gonna just like
They're gonna be like, "When is it happening? It's a conspiracy."
No, well at this point it's just like he's just saying these random things at the end of the videos. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm okay. All right. I'm reviewing all of the Godzilla movies, and I have finally started recording it because I spent the last like 4 months talking about how I'm going to do it, and I haven't got around to it. But I finally started recording it, and I was originally going to do them as 4 videos. I'm just going to compile them all into one big video.
Oh, Dios mío.
So, look forward to that. Also, we might be playing some D&D on this channel soon.
Yes,
hopefully.
there'll be more things to come. We're gonna try. We've been trying to keep add on more. Some things have worked, some things haven't. So we're gonna try and do some pseudo recordings of D&D sessions. We're gonna do some more gamings. We're gonna try and stream some more games maybe, as well as just do more reviews. We have some more reviews of classical movies coming up.
Yes.
We got Pulp Fiction
I
on
saw
the list.
Pulp Fiction.
Yay! Finally saw it. The schmuck. Oh God, I'm Jeff Goldblum.
It's alright.
Anyway, so we'll get more to that later. So we'll have more classical movie reviews coming up. We'll have some game reviews that we want to try and do,
I played Final
as well as
Fantasy
some. You're getting all the classics. So we're going to have more on this channel. Please stay tuned and please show us some love. That's all we want in the world. That was a weird send off.
That was awkward. Anyway.
7 up. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. We hope to see you again very soon. You have a good one.
Or a bad one. I mean, I don't know your
God
life. You
damn
can,
it.
What if somebody's having a really bad day, Dan?
Then you wish them a good day.
But then you make them feel worse because they're like, I haven't had a good day, Dan. You don't know my life. Anyway.
Help me. Silences, I know.
Fucking alien.
You're gonna keep this in?
I don't know.
No.
Depends on how funny I think it is when I'm editing it.
This is bad. Please stop.
It'll probably be less funny than I think it is right now.
Probably.
Now that I've said that out loud, now I have to put it in the video.
Damn it! No!
Oh man.
Okay, I'm leaving. We
Bye,
can't.
Dan.
We're done. The video's over.